Welcome, or welcome back, to Quarantine Readings, a series from RCC MUSE, bringing short pieces of literature into your day. Each episode features work published or forthcoming in MUSE, along with works from local literary journals and arts organizations. This episode is the second in a series leading up to the book launch for the spring 2020 issue of MUSE, the literary journal of Riverside City College, publishing diverse prose, poetry, and art from contributors all around the world. Tonight, in addition to MUSE readers, we prepared a great show with our friends from La Sierra University's Roadrunner Review, the Arts Connection Network, and Cal State San Bernardino's Pacific Review. Some are members of their staff, others are contributors. So find a comfy spot, kick back, and enjoy the show. Don't forget to leave us comments and reach out to any of the artists. We really do love to hear from you. Our first two readers come from La Sierra University's Roadrunner Review. First up is Ethan Hoffman. Ethan Hoffman is the fiction editor of the Roadrunner Review and editor-in-chief of the Criterion. He will be graduating with a BA in English, writing from La Sierra University this June. His work engages with themes of sexuality and the experiences of growing up in Guam. Here is Ethan Hoffman reading, "And We Were Supposed to Teach Each Other How to Be Men."
And we were supposed to teach each other how to be men. Remember when you showed me how to throw a football? And not only to throw, but to catch, hold, carry. I treated it fragile, the way I thought I wanted to be treated, and you pulled my arms around it, awakening muscles I'd wanted soft, too afraid of seeming harsh, molding a body capable of protection, not in need of it. Remember when I told you not to wear the clothes your mother picks for you, and to just wear your mother's clothes? You fumbled with buttons on the opposite side. You hissed at the pinch of her stilettos, off balance, leaning so far back you fell. And I let you, and I jumped to fall with you. And we were two men on the floor, lying on maxi skirts, resting our heads on cleats, catching, holding, carrying each other across ourselves. Do you remember the way we never were? Did I ever share that piece of us, the one I stitch into my everyday without much regard for the quality of my life's fabric and fabrication?
Also from La Sierra University comes Melissa Knopp. Born and raised in Kennewick, Washington, Melissa Knopp is the youngest of 7 children. Her writing is deeply rooted in Eastern Washington life, and she's interested in exploring the dynamics that result in a large family. She is currently pursuing an undergraduate degree in creative writing at La Sierra University. She also serves as literary editor for the Roadrunner Review and as a section editor for the Criterion. Reading an excerpt from Early May Wind, this is Melissa Knopp.
The second time I wake up, the air is so hot and still that I think I must still be sleeping. My cat Chloe purrs in staccato bursts in time with her breathing, her tiny body pressed into the curve between my neck and shoulder. I think of her pink belly, still hairless from an emergency cesarean almost 10 years ago. I hear a goat cry out somewhere in the neighborhood, a child shouting. There is some kind of winged bug in my room, humming along the periphery of my attention, and some black spot on the ceiling that I can't identify without my glasses. For some reason, I think of an especially hot July from my childhood, when the streets were filled with fat, shiny black beetles. We would run them over with our bike tires to hear their shells crackle and their inside sizzle on the asphalt. Someone in the house laughs, loud and long. I don't know what time it is. I don't even know what day it is. It feels like I am somewhere other, like nothing exists beyond the sunlight fighting to be felt through my curtains and the dry air against my cheeks. I think I could live in that nothing place forever. In fact, that seems like exactly what I should do. What is there for me beyond this bed in this room, where I can close my eyes and listen to my brother unload the dishwasher, and see my mom smile when she pokes her head into the room? I want her to barge in and sing "Hey Good Lookin' every day of my life. I want to smell my dad's coffee and hear him pour a bowl of Cheerios when he gets off work in the mornings. It is early afternoon when the wind picks up. A cat, Gatsby, scratches at the front door, begging to be let in, and Bonnie chases him through when I open it. The kids are watching television on the couch, William's perfectly brown eyes crinkling as he smiles. He's the oldest of them, 8 years old. His teeth are too big for his mouth, and his lashes curl in an attempt to meet his eyebrows. My dad calls me upstairs to the window in my brother's room, pushing it shut and pointing up the street. "Jiminy Christmas," he says, shaking his head. He moves away, and I hear the pop as he closes another window, but I stay where I am, watching and waiting. The air is a murky beige, no blue visible in the sky. An opaque cloud of dust is coming northeast down the street, approaching our house. It is billowing and grand and fast, like something out of a movie. I don't want to look away. It looks like a great roiling mass of something alive. I don't want to look away, but I abandon my post to curl up under the covers in my own room. I hear it mere minutes later, an uncomfortable whistling in the fireplace, a tired groaning in the walls. I hear the trees, always the trees, creaking and sighing and rattling.
Our next two readers represent Cal State San Bernardino's Pacific Review. First, we will hear from Denise Colick, who will read her poem, Supplies.
This paper, holding weight upon the world, fragile, but trying to stay put. This ink, bleeding onto the sheet to replace expression, the expression of what's said in person, but through words, spilled onto the weight. Who knew the words could hit powerfully, too powerful that it stings, emphasizing the pain getting sharper, hitting every part of my body. This paper, this ink, the safe space away from home, away from society, reality, actuality. Who keeps me secure and sane, steady, the most steady I'll ever be.
Next, we have Esbeth Heredia. Esbeth Heredia is a CSUSB student on the creative writing track, but her heart just isn't anchored to writing. She aspires to become an author and will be pursuing her master's degree in environmental science after graduation. Her desires are rooted in wanting to reach past intangible barriers that only writing can go past, and to help preserve the limited resources we have access to. Tonight, Esbeth will be reading the poem, Sing to Me a Lullaby.
Sing to me a lullaby. Sing me a lullaby to put this restless mind at ease. Save what's left of my sanity. It's slowly slipping. Won't you sing me a lullaby? One that will ease the pain, the voices I want, the monsters I greed. All these in my head, yet they feel so real. Ease me with your lullaby, a lullaby of the soul. Thank you so much for allowing me to read these two pieces to you. I would like to close off with reading the submission statement to Pacific Review. In the midst of a worldwide crisis, many of us find ourselves in the collective experience of isolation, and the emotions that come with it occur on a global level. Although so many lives have been affected at the same time, in a strange way, we feel closer to each other than ever before. The Pacific Review wants to explore the question on what holds us united in our solitary spaces. We understand that without knowledge of what's to come, there must be hope. At the Pacific Review, hope is an urgent call to action. We would love to read your creative work that explores these experiences. Submit your poems, fiction, creative nonfiction, and visual art to the Pacific Review. We look forward to reading your stories, both the individual and the shared experiences. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye.
Our next reader is Natalie J. Graham from the Arts Connection Network. A native of Gainesville, Florida, Natalie Graham earned her MFA in creative writing at the University of Florida and PhD in American Studies at Michigan State University. Her poems have appeared in the San Francisco Chronicle, Callaloo, New England Review, and Southern Humanities Review, and her articles have appeared in the Journal of Popular Culture and Transition. She is a Cave Canem Fellow and Associate Professor of African American Studies at California State University, Fullerton. Begin with a Failed Body, her first full-length collection of poems, won the 2016 Cave Canem Poetry Prize. Here's Natalie Graham reading two poems, Make Me and Underneath There Is a Wound.
Make me. His hands make aspire. I teach the word steeple. We dream at God. I say, God, be close to us. He says, if God can't make me a bird, who can? His heart a ripe peach, his wild boy song jubilant fire. When I say I can't breathe, I mean I am afraid. No window in this corner of night, no hopeful crows calling for the dawn, no nesting with their babies under pine, no nudging them into air. See the dark yawn spread, the gloom-blotched murk. Night, a giant lily's bloom, unfurling a fan of shadows. When I say matter, when I say lives, I mean marvel at the pinnacle his brown hands make, his brown face rising, draped in ginger lamplight. Underneath, there is a wound. There is a man who writes poems about letters, or poems that are letters from soldiers, or who writes letters to the soldiers who die with blank faces. There's always another blank-faced boy to forget. Underneath this poem, and listening to the man read his poem, and forgetting, there is a wound, flapped open like a trout's mouth. Its tenderness surprises me. My boy is tender for dead things, whines for the gone life, lays a leaf over a cricket's carcass, talks breath back into things that never were. Seeing the socket where a fish's eye had been at the dinner table, the hole behind the eye, I forget the soldier who is not a metaphor for loss. The life behind the poem, the wound and blank, all of it. I fail to remember. I refuse to touch another mother's flickering body, even to warm mine. Another blank-faced boy dying, mouth open, still moving his wasted body, shuddering like a huddle of velvet ducklings.
And next, from Curious Publishing, whose collection Pandemic is available now for digital download at curiouspublishing.org/shop and in print on 5/30. We will hear from Lola Merrick, who will read The Tides Have Turned.
The Tides Have Turned by Lola Merrick. The campus soil has been unearthed. A new kindness spreads among the turf. The question looming, who will get hurt? Are these our last weeks? Do we do more? Or finally just get some sleep? We walk slow. Who knows when the last trip to Lot 30 will be? Until the campus will close. It's fitting, too, the rain matches our wet, sticky gloom. No one's skating. I think it's why we feel slow. Get to the next day, because we don't know if we have tomorrow. March 10th, 2020, 3:04 p.m.
And now, representing RCC MUSE Literary Journal, we will have Azalea Brown reading a John Gray poem which appeared in the 2019 edition of MUSE. John Gray is an Australian poet, U.S. resident. He has been recently published in Sin Fronteras, Dollhouse Review, and QWERTY, with work coming up in Blue Line, Willard and Maple, and Red Coyote. This is Azalea Brown reading John Gray's The Family Dance.
The Family Dance by John Gray. Sometimes the parlor was a makeshift dance studio. Father was the instructor. One child would jump to his feet, ride his kicking shoes like a bronco as he moved about the room, and step to the crackling gramophone. One partner would fall, topple onto the sofa, and another would take her place. It was a waltz, then a jitterbug, finally what he called jiving, his jerky moves to early rock and roll. I'd watch in amazement. My mother giggled helplessly. 3 sisters tried, and 3 sisters failed to make it to the end of the song. The first to die, but my father was the last one standing.
And our final poet is also representing RCC MUSE, Angel Neri. Born in Mexico City, Angel Neri is a poet and English student at Riverside City College. He is also senior editor at MUSE Literary Journal. His work seeks to paint forgotten thoughts and sensations that come and go in the time it takes to get from one side of the room to the door. But it mostly just leaves people kind of sad. He enjoys peanut butter, French pop, handsome guys, pretty girls, the color orange, Earl Grey tea, and the way birds hop to get around. He tweets at Angel Neri. This is Angel Neri reading 2 of his poems, Morning Without Matches and I've Literally Not Seen a Bird Today.
There are mornings when you wake up knowing something's left and sinking, diving deep, cold, breathing bad burnt coal, something else moved in. There are mornings when the right trains stop at the wrong stations, mornings when the ocean waves, mornings when pedestrians walk away, dragging their shadows, when the sun walks off to an afternoon without you, mornings and tired hands, no energy to chase the waves that don't come back, mornings like John Cusack, old receipts and tweets about the waves that put the fire out, and then left, mornings without matches. I read a thing about how, statistically, violent and property crimes, general conflict rates rise during the summer. The cyclic nature of these things brings Algerian coastal reds back in season, giving people like us a reason to uncork the glass in which we'd bottled worms. Nobody tallied the limes of the Trader Joe's bottles of wine that I picked up this morning, you know, for the people, later at night, on the margins of the track, edgewise. The winking cones and swans are postponed and re-racked But lets us get a starting point as any go wild if you choose. To be out of control implies you can go back inside afterwards. Doorways work both ways. Most things do these days. And yet it's still unpaid. I toss a coin into a puddle in the absence of a well. The boots are stuck in mud, oh dear. But I am certain there's something online. A WikiHow article, perhaps. A whole YouTube channel with what we had missed in our formative years. Surely the clinking will sort itself, you say. And who is my neighbor? The priest? A pair of sturdy jeans? A morally gray Samaritan hands you a severed limb. It's cool if you take it in good faith. Just don't ask him where he got it. Do you ever miss that softball field? The foot of the hill? Putting on a show for the construction crew? Riding? Removing your seatbelt before the landing? The exclamation points intact are silent, and we could be slowly sliding into certain channels and holding hands through a mindful disgrace. A kind dishonor that might help your nerves these days in a controlled and safe space. The backseat of a car mainly, but I have ideas of quickly cooking in a kitchen, retiling the garden or the bathroom of a plane, below or on the dinner table or at a public event. I shouldn't have to convince you of this. The cat is dead in every box you don't open. The pines keep dropping, and the elephant we kept takes a familiar step back ahead of the subject line, which bumps me out, and I am haunted by the sensation left over from a different summer in the company of October infomercials. Flashing third by the packing district, I sit with an empty pocket, and my push notifications are breaking my heart. Oh God, I'd sell my dog for a little bird. A small, songless thing that's quick to startle and I can't understand.
And that's it for tonight's show.
But there is more.